Body by FPV. Love that username. Hey Joshua, been having an issue with my GPS home arrow and the goggles pointing the wrong way when I take off. Body by FPV, the thing that I know can cause that is if you have a GPS with a compass, okay, then the orientation of the GPS matters. And if the GPS is oriented wrong, the compass orientation will override the GPS heading and the home arrow will point the wrong way. What you have to do is, here's what you do, okay? So first of all, tell me that you've got a GPS with a compass. Because if not, then I don't know what to tell you. But assuming that you have a GPS with a compass, what you do is you plug in the quad, you run a compass calibration, first of all, and then you point the quad, you put your goggles on, and you turn your quad so the compass is pointing north. Okay? And then you look at your phone and you see, is it pointing north? Okay? And if the quad thinks it's pointing north, but actually it's pointing east, you have to go in and you have to change the sensor alignment. So let's go into Betaflight here real quick. Let's see if we can do this in Betaflight. If we go to configuration, mag alignment is what we're going to change, okay? Mag alignment. So you're going to adjust the mag alignment 0, 90, 180, or 270 to get north to be north. And then the problem is that once north is north, you could still have it flipped upside down. So the next thing you do, once you've got north facing north, the next thing you do is you face north and you rotate 90 degrees to the left or right. And you see if now east and west are correct. And if the compass is upside down, north will be north. But then when you rotate to the west, the compass will rotate to the east. Okay? You follow me? And if that happens, so let's say you find that clockwise 90 makes north be north. But when you rotate left or right, the rotation is the wrong direction. You're going to go to clockwise 90 flip, and then that's going to fix it. All right. That's the answer of how to get your compass calibrated and facing the right way. Take another question from the Discord server. Would you trust buying a Chimera 7 from a stranger? I have seen it fly, but he keeps calling it a plane. Well, on some level, that may be the perfect person to buy it from, since he's probably going to give you a good price. Buying a used quad is always questionable. It could be perfect. It could have been crashed a million times and be broken. It is very risky. I wouldn't buy a used quad that I couldn't see and inspect in person. Okay? And test fly. And I would always want a fair discount buying a used quad. Now, like, for example, I sometimes sell used quads that I have, I don't ever sell like beat up pieces of shit. I give them away. But like, if I have a quad that I reviewed and I don't want it for whatever reason, I don't want to keep it, I'll sometimes sell them. In that case, like, it's basically brand new. I reviewed it and I'm vouching for it. And if you buy it and it turns out like, oh, the motor was broken, I'll find a way to make that good because I have a reputation and I don't want people out there cussing my name. But if you're just buying from some schmuck on Facebook, who knows what you could get? It's pretty risky. Let's see here. We'll take one more from the Discord, then we'll take some questions from the YouTube chat. Cloudy Ace says, I'm about to update my Express ELRS receiver. I was trying to remember if Joshua and Blunty were talking about it being better to use the web versus the configurator for some reason. Cloudy Ace, I always use the web-based utility to upload firmware because the configurator ones, there's just too many little things that can make it go wrong. And when the configurator works, it's completely seamless and amazing. But if it doesn't work, it's a pain in the ass, so I usually just skip it. Matmo46 Thank you for a $2 super chat. OG Air Unit, black controller, version 0106. Okay, here's the issue. Matmo46 has to way back at the beginning of the stream has goggles 2, an air unit, and a controller, and you can't get them to bind.
V2, I think. Just to be clear.
Are you sure it's the V2?
I'm almost positive he said V2. Maybe he can tell us in chat, but I'm.
You don't. Let me look back. No, I can't see his old super chat. I'm sorry, but that matters. Matmo, don't leave a super chat. Just tell us in the chat. Which he did say the V2
goggle. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, fine. That does affect the answer. The V2 goggle will bind with the OG Air unit and the black controller on firmware 0106. So the first thing to do is I have to run through the hardware that you've got and make sure that the firmware will allow them all to bind. For example, if you have the 03 Air unit and if you have the goggles 2 and the Vista, the firmware that lets the Vista bind to the goggles 2 prevents them from binding to the black controller. So that combination wouldn't work. But your combination of hardware will work, and the firmware that you're on will also work. Okay? So if they won't bind, my next guess is that your goggles are in the wrong mode. Your goggles can be in one of 4 modes: the DJI FPV drone mode, the DJI Avata drone mode, the DJI O3 Air Unit mode, and the DJI Digital FPV System mode. You need to be in the DJI Digital FPV System mode. And you can make that change under, I think it's under Settings, Device About, or Settings About. That's my guess. My guess is that you have your goggles in the wrong mode. Oh, Steve Trick says the radio will bind and the goggles won't. Does the black controller work with the DJI FPV drone?
No. So the OG Air unit only works with the black controller if you're on the right firmware to work with the V2 goggles. So we know he's on the right OG Air unit firmware. And if that happens, they'll bind fine. You just can't get radio connection to the flight controller if the SBus baud fast that Steve is talking about is correct. So you don't have to do SBus baud fast first. I can promise you don't.
No, because SBus baud fast controls whether the flight controller sees the signal, but you can still bind regardless.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with video. It's just the controller. Yeah, and he can't get the
other
unit to bind to the goggles V2. So I think you're correct. I think it's the mode the goggles are in kind of has to be the thing.
I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah.
They're also pointing out that you have to bind the goggles first and then the controller. That is correct. Because every time you bind the goggles, it erases the controller bind. Blunty, do you identify with this?
A little bit, yes.
Probably more often than you like to admit. That's great. That's fantastic. What a great GIF. Who finds these GIFs?